This is Paul. Yeah. It's 2:42. I just got here a couple minutes ago, and I took a little time to think about who I am in the eyes of those that I'm going to sue. I'm a homeless man, just one of approximately 7.5 billion persons on the face of the earth that happens to be on rental assistance. Yes. And as important as you are as individuals, I want you to have a right perspective about who I am at this very moment. I'm just a member of humanity. Now, I know that I've sent you some emails today, and then I went looking at what is known as the International Bar Association. Yeah. I really liked it that they have a directory of the various members of the International Bar. And of course, if you're a member, that means that you have employees in other nations. I just, well, it's kind of a random thing. I decided to email the letter M of the International Bar Association. And it looks like out of about 20 emails, 12 of them were obstructed. Now, as one of humanity, I'm nothing of significance. You're absolutely right, Sheriff. You're right, Police Chief. What's a homeless man going to do? Because you see me as just a human being in humanity. I'm just like all the other persons in all the other nations that want to have a family. They want to have a house. Yes. They like to have a vehicle. They like to have their individual rights enforced. Now, it looks to me like today we're doing the same thing as what we've been doing for the last 3.5 years. You have completely denied my humanity because you're in office. I'm just like the rest of them. Okay. And if you go through this directory, we'll maybe look at it together. Yes. There are a lot of regulators of the legal profession, from Albania to Armenia to Belgium to Bulgaria, different territories of Canada. And I think I uploaded a copy of this maybe 2 or 3 years ago. Yes. And then if you scroll down in it, there's numerous law firms that represent human rights violations. Now, National Parliamentary Database and National Gazettes. How was the information contained in the directory obtained? Yes. Links from regional and national legal information institutes? Yes. The World Law Library resources? See, what working on, yes, in my personal life is nothing unique to any other person in the rest of the world. I'm like all of them. If I was to go to any corrupt nation of the world, they have the same problems that I have. Yes. Now, the nice part is it gives me some comfort that I'm not special. Overall, the directory covers 83% of the United Nations member states, World Trade Organization, and 97% of the world's GDP. 93% of the world's population is covered in this directory. Only 7% of the world's population is not covered. I'm just like any other citizen of any nation. Where the sheriff's department is corrupt, yes. The police department is corrupt, and the judges are corrupt. Now, just so you know, I'm not special. This directory covers 93% of the world's population. Well, did you think I was special? Did you decide to fight with me? A citizen of the United States? See, it says homeless. Yeah. I'm a homeless man in Washington State. Yes. I'm on rental assistance. Yes. I've sent 2,800,000 emails. Right. I'm documented numerous rights violations, and I've documented forgeries, kidnapping, conspiracy. I'm like the rest of the world that has to deal with the same problems, yes, of corrupt governments that refuse to acknowledge the rights of their individual citizens. See, we have constitutions in, well, approximately of the 170 nations, probably 155 to 60 of them have constitutions, and they really don't do any good if you don't enforce them. They're just another document that you ignore as a government employee, thinking that, well, I'm just like the rest of humanity. Isn't that how you establish human rights violations? Isn't that how I get to sue you for violating my human rights? I have to separate myself right now from my citizenship to the actual humanity that's involved. Yes. Now, regulators of admission, Court of Admission, National Bar Admission, local bar associations, 223 governmental departments. Uh, who regulates lawyers in practice? Now, I thought maybe the Washington State Bar Association had something to do about Washington State. But I attempted to contact the Maryland Bar Association, the Milwaukee Bar Association, and all of those in the letter M bar associations. And nobody wants to censure corrupt judges, court commissioners, yes. No one wants to enforce the laws of the United States. Well, I have to identify myself with humanity then. I'm just a homeless man, yes, that is having my rights violated because of corruption. Pooh. Now, these corruption conventions that I told you about, I think that they apply to humanity more than they do to the actual citizens of the individual nations. So you kind of have to acknowledge your humanity to be able to have you put in, well, um, there's quite a few nations represented in this directory. Australia, the Queensland Legal Service Commissioner investigates complaints. Yes. Contact URL, email admissions@qls.com.au. I did email the Australian Supreme Court of Australia. Ooh. You know, these Supreme Court justices that think they're special. The primary legislative source, the Legal Profession Act of 2007. South Australia, the Legal Practitioners Act of 1981. Legal Profession Conduct Commissioner, Legal Profession. Well, Tasmania. Ooh, the Law Society of Tasmania. Now, just so you know, Sheriff, yes, to be able to be tried for violating humanitarian rights violations, yes, I have to prove in a court of law that I'm just a member of humanity. This large group of individuals that live on planet Earth, yes, that each one of them lives in nations that refuses to enforce the actual rights known as human rights. Now, human rights are those rights that each person is entitled to simply because he or she is a human being. The concept of human rights is based on the idea that each person has wealth and dignity and so deserves basic freedoms. Now, this liberty that you're depriving me of. Well, it says here, yes, the concept of human rights is based on the idea that each person in every nation of the world, yes, has worth and dignity and deserves certain basic freedoms. Now, most of the international laws that define and guarantee human rights were developed by the United Nations. Could we call them again? Because as I understood my United Nations marriage certificate,